Welcome to another Sept by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us from the grave and tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Rock will never hide.
Good evening and welcome to the St. by Night Entertainment Network, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Kent on all social media. I am the lead storyteller of St. by Night. And you're probably asking yourself, what day is this? Well, you're not alone. It is Friday, and this is Hellhounds. What is Hellhounds, you ask? Well, Hellhounds is our second Werewolf the Apocalypse story set in the Rage Across Tampa universe. That's right. Hellhounds is that second pack you've been hearing about if you've been paying attention to the Rage Across Tampa story. These are the reinforcements sent all the way from Michigan, from the city of Hell, Michigan, to be specific. They've been sent down here to back up the Sept of the Evening Star. But are they the reinforcements that the Sept asked for? Well, we're going to find out. Now, if you're new, welcome to Rage Across Tampa. Welcome to Hellhounds. Welcome to St. by Night. You should go back and watch all of the episodes of Rage Across Tampa to get caught up, because you might get a little bit lost on this story. But we promise you, you're in for a wild ride regardless. And if you're new here, just follow along. We'll catch you up. Don't worry about it. But if you like what you see, go follow St. by Night in all of the links down below, or come join our community and get involved with all things St. by Night. We know we'd love to have you, so follow that Discord link and get involved with us. Now, we're going to be doing things a little bit different here, so it's time to slip into something a little bit more comfortable. Let's do it. Ah, that's much better. That's right. For Hellhounds, we're going to be using reactive images, which means you're going to see artwork of our amazing characters. And don't worry, you're going to see some pretty amazing visual effects as well. So while this might be different than a lot of our other previous programming, you might see some stuff familiar to our Mementos program, which is also available here on YouTube. So if you haven't checked that out, you should go give that a watch to see what you're in for with Hellhounds. But I couldn't tell this story alone. I would need some pretty incredible players to make it happen. Some of them you may have seen before. Some of them will be brand new to you. But let's give them a chance to introduce themselves, shall we? Players, go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please.
Hey, my name is Jay. I'll be playing the Bonar Rune Deadbeat.
Hi everyone, I'm Nikki and I will be playing Delphine Ruin Speaker, Theurge of the Silent Striders.
Hello, my name is Ben. I'm going to be playing Raymond Gorn, Ghost Council, Philodox.
Hey guys, my name is Katie, and I'm going to be playing Aurora Rory Woods, the Bonar Galliard.
Hello, I am Lilith, and I'm going to be playing Juniper Kameen, a Ragabash of the Black Furies.
In the war to save Gaia, Gaia calls forth all kinds. Warriors, poets, rogues, wise individuals, seers. Some say when Gaia brings forth one into the ranks of the Garou, she does so for a reason. She does so because of some grand design. But as we look at this pack, as we look at this group of individuals, one has to ask the question, why? As we look at this pack of a vagabond, a thief, a cannibal, a drug addict, and a hypocrite, one has to ask the question, what went wrong? Is this a story of redemption? Or is this a downward spiral? Is this just adding to the proof that Gaia is truly dead? Is this just proof that the apocalypse has come? Because that is the story of Hellhounds. Will this group of individuals be able to redeem themselves? Will they be able to fulfill their destiny and become the Garou they were born to be? Or will they succumb to their base instincts and urges and just continue to be the people they are? Our story begins in Tampa. This pack of Garou have made the long journey south from the city of Hell, Michigan. And yes, there is a city called Hell, Michigan. And in this time of year, we're just going to go ahead and rip off that Band-Aid. Hell has, in fact, frozen over many times over since winter has struck the northern area of these United States. But here in Florida, after driving for several days for some of you, or a grueling 17 hours for one of you, it is a hot, sticky, balmy temperature upon your arrival. A very strong departure from what you had experienced before. Now, all of you come from a varying walks of lives. Some of you come from a more upper crust upbringing. Some of you come from the very gutter of society. But as you arrive outside of this ramshackle home, all of you can agree that this is the absolute pits. Because the address you were given by your contact, a Silver Fang by the name of Matthias Morningkill, was to be your home. A gift from your contact, a place to settle and to congregate while you settled in and became part of the Sept. But if this is a first gift, what does it say about the nation's thoughts on you? Because as you look around the neighborhood, the run-down homes, the cracked pavement, you see that the houses surrounding this particular place are even more worse off than this one. As you look into the eyes of the wary neighbors nearby who stare from porches and windows, many of those windows with bars on them, looking over in your direction, you have to wonder, why here? Why now? Or is this just a sample of the city at large? Is this just what this area is? Maybe they just wanted to show you firsthand what you were getting into. Maybe it isn't a statement about you. Maybe this is just what Tampa is. As these thoughts go through your mind, you look again toward the house, and one stunning detail sticks out above the rest. A luxury sedan, probably worth more than anything else in this neighborhood at present. Many of these houses combined, perhaps, sits out front with tinted windows. The engine isn't running currently, and it is completely black from bumper to bumper. The scene is yours as you all congregate, exiting your separate vehicles and making your way towards the house with the address that you have been given.
Imagine I step out the car. I stretch my legs, being cramped in a car for so long, getting to my height of 6'4". I'm a paler complexion with wearing a muscle t-shirt showing off tribal tattoos on my right arm, as I have very visible muscle, kind of hair put up into a messy man bun. As I continue to stretch, looking around, I kind of think aloud to myself as I say, "Man, this place is a shithole, isn't it? Think they'd, get us somewhere better."
Delphine emerges from the car, stretching as well. She is wearing an oversized sweater that hangs off her body, which is emaciated and dangerously thin. Her face is gaunt and her eyes are sunken in, green eyes bloodshot red. She looks tired and just looks like as if a moderate breeze could just knock her over. And she'll glare over at Deadbeat and just, it's better than being in a fucking gutter.
You would know all about that, wouldn't you?
Fuck you.
Have a shit-eating grin on my face as I let out a little chuckle to myself.
Rory will turn off her car and like stretch her arms while still behind the wheel. And then after opening the door and the heat kind of hitting her, she'll roll up her sleeves on her oversized hoodie. She's about 5'5", half an inch on a good day. And like the hoodie's probably 2 sizes too big. We'll take off her beanie and wind up putting all of her like reddish, purplish hair up before stepping out of the car and taking a look around and looking over the SUV and kind of trying to memorize the plate and like the features of it and seeing if who they're meeting up with might be inside the car still waiting for them or waiting inside the building potentially.
Sure, go ahead and give me a wits and investigation roll.
I got a 3.
With 3 successes, as you study the vehicle, you're able to quickly memorize the license plate, looking over it, getting the details, the letters and numbers. You're quickly able to determine that this is likely a rented vehicle based off of the word fleet at the bottom of the license plate. It is a Florida license plate. But based off of the tinted windows at the back of the vehicle, you're not able to determine right away if anybody is seated in the back of the car. But at the front of the car, you do not see a driver in the driver's side, and the car is turned off at the moment.
Noted.
Looking to break in there, Rory?
She'll pull out an earbud and kind of give Deadbeat a side wise glance and just go,
Said you're looking to break in there? You're kind of eyeing it up.
Doesn't hurt to observe the things that others we meet have.
You think you could break in there?
Potentially.
At this point, a young woman, anywhere from 15 to 19 years old, steps out of the large van that many of you arrived in. It's hard to tell her age, mostly because she's covered head to toe in dirt. She looks like she hasn't taken a bath in several days, and based off of the rags she's wearing, she looks like a unhoused individual. The hair atop her head is very loosely shorn and messy, unbrushed, uncombed. She has smudges of mud and dirt across her cheeks, and the blank scowl upon her face gives her a very feral look as she gives a stare towards Deadbeat and Rory both. I wouldn't do that if I were either of you. First impressions mean a lot, and the nation doesn't give second chances.
It was just a hypothetical, all right? I'm just hypothetical speaking.
Sure. Hypothetical. Stakes her claim, looks about the group of pups that she has been mentoring these past several months, and looks towards the house, taking in the surroundings before looking over towards Ray.
I will step out of my truck. It's parked a little bit in front of Rory's car. Walk over to the rest of the group. I stand at about 6'2", or 6 to 6'2", shoulder length, dirty blonde hair, medium length beard, little messy, unkempt, very old, ripped, sweat stained U.S. Army hat, wearing a deep green plaid overshirt with a gray undershirt. The overshirt's rolled up to his elbows in the heat, wearing the good old denim jeans and some work boots. Well, I agree with Stakes. We definitely need to be on our best behavior. I don't want us to be immediately thrown out of town. I'll look at Deadbeat, giving him a little bit of a glare.
Look, I'll try and be on my best behavior. Sir, yes, sir. Hoorah. Got you.
As everybody is talking, I get out of the van behind Stakes. I stand at about 5'9", and upon feeling the heat hit me like a wave, the first thing I do is I put my thick curly hair up into a ponytail and just kind of grimace up at the sun a little bit before looking around at everyone and just glaring, still very pissed off about the situation.
I don't know how long he's been waiting, so we should probably head inside. Don't want to be any more rude than we possibly already have been.
Sir, yes, sir.
Rory will do like a really terrible salute to Ray and then put her earbud back in.
As you walk up the short walkway to the front of the house, taking in the details of the house itself, you can tell that this place has been, or several attempts have been made to remodel or refurbish or dress up this place. They've clearly tried to make this place look nice. At least several previous owners have. But maybe it's the neighborhood. Maybe it's the surroundings. Maybe it's the failing economy that this place hasn't sold. Several attempts have been made. The siding clearly has been recently changed. The roof has been replaced probably within the last 5 or 6 years. It's not hard to tell that someone took pride in this place once upon a time. But like all things, once upon a time is a fairy tale. Reality always sets in. And from the vines crawling up the side of the house, it's not hard to tell that reality has taken hold of this place a lot sooner than most places. As you approach the door, pulling open the screen door, you can see that the front door itself is slightly ajar.
Delphine will try to listen to see if there's any sound coming from inside, like any movement.
Sure, give me a wits and awareness.
With my penalty, I assume.
With your penalty, you have not had an opportunity to use within several days.
What rage are we at?
You are at 1 rage currently. Actually, I would say, yeah, 1 rage for you for sure.
That'll be 2 successes.
With 2 successes, though you can't make out the words, you can hear some muffled voices from within. And you can see some lights from within the house as well, from the crack in the door.
Whoever he is, this Matthias guy is, he's not alone. So at least he wasn't waiting alone.
Well, only if you could do this good last time we went out to do something. Last time he sent you to scout ahead on a mission, huh?
Hey, Deadbeat, what's that right there? And she'll like point specifically at the doorway.
I'll kind of lean in, like take a look, like what the fuck are you talking about?
She'll then look at Juniper and like make a gesture to kick, and then look at Deadbeat's at Deadbeat's back.
I glare at Delphine for a moment, but don't waste the opportunity. And I go to kick Deadbeat.
Okay, go ahead and give me a strength and brawl. Actually, give me a wits and awareness, Deadbeat, and give me a dexterity and stealth, Juniper, because we're going to see if he can notice in time to actually defend against it. Or if you get a surprise attack.
Could I possibly get an extra die for help from Delphine?
I'll give you the extra die, yeah.
I got 4 successes.
Would I be at 1 rage, or would I?
I would say you're probably at 2 rage because this
Yeah, that's
entire
what I was thinking.
experience has not been to your liking. You did not want to leave Michigan, even though you were able to tie up some loose ends before you left. This is not a situation that you find appealing in the slightest.
I also got 4 successes.
Okay, so with a tie, I'm going to say that you can both roll with your full dice pools. So it's strength and brawl versus dexterity and athletics.
Am I dexterity athletics?
Yes, your dexterity and athletics. Or you can make strength and brawl to try and defend.
Oh,
AKA
strength and
catch her
brawl.
leg and, you know.
I like to imagine that I just kind of stand very firmly in the ground, just use my most try and push back. Let's see my dice. Only 2 successes.
Oof. I got 6 successes with a crit.
Okay, so even though you turn knowing that there is an attack incoming, Deadbeat, you're not quick enough to catch her foot as it hits you in the chest, sending you sprawling back into the doorway, causing the door to come flying open inward as you go slamming into the living room, sprawling onto the ground, onto the floor inside the living room. You take 2 points of superficial damage as you hit the floor from the kick from Juniper hitting the ground.
This just a moment of pause that I just lay there for a second as I see my rage goes up as well.
Yes,
And
it
this is
definitely goes up after you take damage.
I just kind of like I stop to resist the urge to immediately backhand this bitch for kicking me down like this, but I just kind of like I just groan and I stand up. I'm just gonna I say, one of these days you're gonna go for it, and I'm not gonna hold back. I'm gonna smack your ass into the next dimension, Juniper.
Thanks for getting the door, Deadbeat, as she walks in.
I'll just sigh and put my hand to my face. It's like, what did we say about first impressions? And
Entering into the small home, you're immediately greeted by a small living room, which is attached to a kitchen and a hallway leading to several adjoining rooms. In the kitchen, where the light is on, there is a small kitchen table, a little round kitchen table with several chairs at it. And sitting in one of the chairs is a man dressed in a nice suit with slicked back black hair. He's got a couple of scars marring his otherwise extremely striking and handsome features, and a well manicured beard. In most circumstances, this is not a man you would consider yourself ever having kept company with, except for Delphine. Delphine, this is a man in a former life you possibly could have seen going in circles with, aside from the scars on his face. You probably have encountered men like this before. He's not alone, however, because sitting also at the table is another nondescript gentleman in a suit who looks like he's probably a chauffeur or a driver, as he has a driver's cap on. And both of them are drinking out of coffee cups. The man, obviously Matthias Morningkill, has his legs crossed as he drinks from the coffee cup and observes the situation with a bemused smirk on his face, looking down and then up at Deadbeat as he rises and takes in all of you as you enter into the room. Well, that's quite an entrance you made. Welcome.
Yeah, it's all thanks to the press psycho over here.
And here I thought you were just being a gentleman opening the door for us.
Do you even qualify the lady at this point?
A pleasure. I assume you're Matthias Morningkill.
That I am. He looks over towards Stakes. Stakes your claim. Nice to see you again. Stakes just gives a curt nod back to the gentleman. As your associate said, my name is Matthias Morningkill. I am of the Silver Fangs, and I am a benefactor to the Sept of this area. I hold no official title to this Sept, but I am an emissary of sorts to the other Septs within the nation. As you may have heard from the leadership of your Sept, I recently visited the state of Michigan on a ambassadorial outreach. We were looking for assistance down here in Tampa. Your leadership was so inclined to offer assistance, which is why you are here. Now, before we get too far into anything, I would ask your names and your tribes and moons.
Delphine will look to Ray specifically first to lead the introductions.
I will step forward, kind of through everyone, and standing a little bit at an attention, parade rest style. My name is Ray Ravengorn. I am of the Ghost Council tribe, and I am a Philodox.
Ah, we share the same moon.
Delphine will nod her head to Matthias. Delphine, Ruin Speaker. I am a Theurge of the Silent Riders.
Lovely to meet you, Delphine. The Sept has been in need of spiritual aid. You are most welcome here.
That's the first.
Deadbeat. Not now.
No, no, sorry. Names Deadbeat, tribe Bone Gnawers, Moon Shit, Arun, the one that whoop asses. You got a drink, by the way? I see you got the coffee stuff. There was some for us around here, or
Of course. He looks over towards his driver and kind of gestures, and the man gets up and moves over to a coffee pot and towards a cupboard and starts pulling out several mugs.
oh sweet, hell yeah.
Matthias then looks towards Juniper.
I just kind of stand there awkwardly for a moment before sighing and introducing myself. Name's Juniper, and I'm Ragabash of the Black Furies, I guess.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Juniper. And last but certainly not least,
Rory will step aside or somewhere where she can be seen, because she's probably like hanging out in the back, and then pull out one of her earbuds and put it away. They call me Rory, and I am another bone gnawer, and I was under the gibbous moon, so I'm a galliard. I think that's right.
correct. It's good to see all of the moons represented within a pack. It's a very vital importance, and it speaks to a well-rounded group of individuals to have all represented. It's a good asset. Proves strength, versatility, and it's much needed in these times. I would like to clear up any misconceptions about your coming here. Tampa is a fresh start, an opportunity for a new beginning. Whatever you've heard about the nation, whatever reputation the nation has garnered in your minds, is probably true. But that's not what we're hoping you'll find here. We are trying to create something new. We are trying to build something new. We are trying to dispose of old biases. We are trying to open up alliances and negotiations. We are trying to unify once more. The old ways shattered our nation, caused division. You've probably felt it, even all the way up north. Felt like you were neglected, felt like you were ignored. And you were. I won't deny it. However, we are seeking to remedy that. And it begins here. Through our unity, we can become stronger. This place is just the beginning. What we build here can spread, can grow. We can show your Sept and Septs like yours that what was does not have to continue to be. That we can grow stronger together. That we can change. That the fight is not lost. That no one tribe is better than any other. That all of us have our strengths, all of us have our importance. That we are all necessary in the fight. That being said, I am open to answer any questions you may have.
While he's saying this and while people are questioning, can I get a vibe check on him to see if he really believes this or if he's just kind of giving us like a, I can't think of the phrase, but like giving us like the rose
Platitudes?
tint, yeah, platitudes, and like putting the rose tinted glasses on us so this way we turn a blind eye later on.
Yeah, give me a wits and insight.
And may I also do a vibe check because I am internally rolling my eyes at this dude and whatever propaganda spiel he's given to us right now.
Absolutely. Anybody who wants to do an insight check can do so.
Can I just not believe him?
Yeah. You can make up your own mind without even looking further in.
I got a 3 again.
Okay. So for you, Rory, I would say there is a lot of conviction in his words. His words are pretty. They're definitely well spoken and seem rehearsed, but there's conviction behind them. He speaks with purpose and strength. But they are pretty and rehearsed words. Like obviously he has given this speech before. But he does speak with some conviction and passion behind them, yes.
Noted.
I got 4 successes.
Okay, so Juniper, to the same regard, there is conviction and passion. Again, it is very rehearsed. It does feel like he is speaking with political jargon, with a very politician's air, but he means what he says. He clearly means what he says. But it's also easy for one to say sitting atop a throne or sitting atop a corporate ladder.
It's very admirable, the mission that you're trying to accomplish, but the main question I really want answered at the moment is exactly what assistance do you require for us to be down here?
Well, You're walking into a war zone. What you knew about your home in Michigan is much different than what you're going to encounter here. Tampa, Florida, is very much the front lines. Leeches hold the area with a strangle grip.
What are leeches? Like,
Vampires.
those are real?
You haven't been taught about vampires.
No.
We're talking like metaphorical or like literal vampires. We're talking like vampire ghost spirit thingies.
Mr. Morningkill, if I may be so bold as to ask, what were you disclosed about us?
His face is stoic for a moment, but there is a slight twitch in the corner of his eye. But after a moment, he takes a deep breath. Oh, she's going to love you.
I'm assuming.
So, yes, to answer your question, vampires are very real. Just like you are, Garou. Vampires do exist. In fact, most of the things you've read about in stories, in one form or another, likely exist. However, the ways you combat them and what they can do most likely vary. But you'll learn all about that, I'm sure, over the coming days and weeks. But you're going to have to learn quickly, because as I said, you are walking into a war zone. Fortunately, you are walking in at a very good time. Your leaders, the Sept leadership here, struck a very strong blow against the vampires. They killed their leadership and have sent them reeling into hiding. This will buy you some time to learn, but not a great deal of time. So you will have to learn quickly. One advantage we have over the leeches is our strength and our ability to move during the daytime. That is true about the leeches. But they are clever. And they are, for the most part, immortal. So they have had experience on their side and time to learn. But I will leave that teaching up to your Sept leaders. That also being said, there are other issues plaguing this area. Issues the Sept leadership will talk to you about. Now, speaking of the Sept leadership, you will have the opportunity to meet them very soon. After this meeting, after you've had a chance to settle, I will be taking you to the Sept Cairn, a place of power you may be familiar with from your previous Sept, your gathering place. This is where you'll be introduced to your Sept leader, Aspen Weiss. She is my protege. I taught her most of what she knows, but she learned a great deal on her own from her time here. She is very business focused. She's a lawyer. She's not going to take a great deal of trouble. So don't give it to her if you can avoid it.
Criminal defense?
She handled more environmental law.
Oh,
But
it
she
sucks for
is
you, deadbeat.
practiced.
Actually, hold on. Did she become a werewolf like after being a lawyer or before being a lawyer?
She became Garou while she was learning law.
Why is she a lawyer?
Life must go on. And the way you can help Gaia is on many fronts. It doesn't just have to be on the battlefield.
But I feel like I don't know. I mean, she's supposed to be like our big leader and all. It feels like, if she's doing law stuff, it's gonna be like way more time than, doing Garou stuff. Sorry.
The war for Gaia can also be very expensive. Someone's got to pay the bills.
Also, speaking of that, what's our grocery limit? Like, what's our budget for that? What's you got that? You getting some furniture on the way here, some better one, or like, what's looking like on that front?
Looking around, the house is furnished, quote unquote, but it is very basic, and most likely most of this came from thrift stores.
Yeah, I imagine I say that I walk up and I like grab a chair, kind of flip it around, and sit down with the back of the chair, let my chest leaning on the back of the chair as I just kind of put my arms atop of it, kind of way more relaxed than I should be.
As I said, I am a benefactor, and I did ask for you to come here. So, I am going to afford you a starting expense account. It is not limitless, however. You will have to earn your keep, which does mean potentially getting jobs. Now, if you prove yourself an asset to the Sept, perhaps that expense account increases. If you prove yourself a detriment to the Sept, that expense account will vanish.
So like, like a couple thousand, you would say, a couple hundred.
Enough to keep you alive and
Okay.
housed.
Delphine will look over at Ray and just give him a look like, this is our impression.
I look back over at Delphine, and you can just see the I know look on his face.
The more Deadbeat talks, the louder Rory's eyes roll behind him.
Are there any other questions that I can answer for you in advance of your meeting with your Sept?
Other than Aspen Weiss, who else is part of the local Sept here that we should know about?
You'll meet them all in due time, but for today's meeting, you will also be meeting with the Master of the Howl and the Tale Singer, Malicious Jester. She is a Galliard as well. She has been recording the stories of the Sept since its inception. She is a Black Fury, and she is... well, you'll like her. I'm sure she will fit in quite well with all of you. Also, there is the Warden. I have a feeling you'll get to know him very well. My nephew, Charles Albrecht, a rune of the Silver Fangs.
Have I heard of Malicious Jester through the news?
Roll me a Wits and Streetwise.
Two successes.
I would say that News probably didn't get that far, and if it did, it was probably like a byline. It would have probably easily gone missed. It was not big national news. It would have been definitely Southeast United States news, but it wasn't like nationwide manhunt news.
Roger, Roger.
I got a question for you.
Of course.
How many other strays have you given that pretty little speech to?
He smiles. I have visited many septs. I have spoken to many sept leaders. And I won't lie to you. I have tried to recruit many times, and many have said no. These are difficult times in the nation. Many have reasons to be suspicious. Many have reasons to be insular. This is what the nation has become. But this is why we're losing. This is why we're failing. And this is why there are less and less of us. I know, based off of your question about leeches, that you haven't had an opportunity to see the world at large, to see the nation for what it truly is. This will be that opportunity. Speaking with your leadership here will be that opportunity. They have been alone for over a year on this front line, in this war zone. The stories you will hear will show you just what this nation has been to them. You will see what we are trying to fix. And you can either be a part of the solution, or you can be a part of the problem. Either way, it will move on without you, or with you. I'd prefer it was with. Because the future can be bright, or it can end here.
Rory will nod to that and then kind of take a step back so she's behind their pack leader.
When are we going
That's
to be meeting? When are we going to be meeting Aspen and this malicious jester?
Later this afternoon, just before dusk.
Are we going to have some time before meeting them to get our bearings a little bit?
Of course. In fact, I wanted to give you the rest of the afternoon to settle in, talk amongst yourselves, make yourselves comfortable and as presentable as you wish to be before you head out to meet your sept leadership.
Understood.
If there are no other questions, I will leave you be and I will meet you at the precise location I will leave with stakes.
I had one more question before you left.
Of course.
How many theurges do you have?
He considers the question as he was about to answer, but then reconsidered. One.
Understood.
Well, he stands up and kind of wipes off the back of his pants from having sat on the seat. If there's nothing else, I'll see you all later this evening. Make yourselves at home.
At this point, I had my coffee. I kind of raise it up to him, like, "Yeah, you got it, boss." And I take a little sip of it, and I make a face, and I just spit it back into the cup. Put the cup back down.
With that, he gives a nod of his head and walks out, the driver following behind. A few moments later, you hear the car doors close, the sedan start up, and drive away.
Did you hear what he said about those like the people's titles? That shit was so. I tried so hard not to laugh at that. Like Tail Singer, where the fuck that was? You think they make that up here, or like that's actually like a thing? Cause that shit, oh my god, it's crazy how much they like. Do you think they take that seriously? That's that's. I was trying so hard not to laugh. Holy shit.
Rory's just putting her earbud back in and starting to unpack, like goes out to unpack her car and start bringing stuff in.
Delphine is got a contemplative frown on her face, and she walks over to Ray and like nods her head for him to go over to Stakes as well. And once she arrives at Stakes, what did you guys tell him?
About?
What they were getting, because that guy's the textbook definition of buying the property without doing a walkthrough.
I didn't tell him anything. But I don't talk to suits.
Well, then what did Red and Sean say?
What do you think they said?
I think they lied.
Probably.
So we were already going to be on. We were already going to be off the wrong foot immediately, as soon as we opened our mouths.
You don't have to be. I can tell you this much. They didn't lie. But they didn't say much. They said reinforcements were coming. They said they'd send people down. They didn't say who. They didn't give much detail.
I also don't think they expected a bunch of PFGs to show up.
Probably not. So you can either prove them right or prove them wrong. That's up to you.
Delphine will just shake her head a little dejectedly and just head on out to start unpacking what little she owns.
As Delphine leaves, I'm going to turn to Juniper. Did you really have to kick Deadbeat through the door? We did try to come off a little bit more presentable than what you just did.
I think we presented ourselves exactly as we are, Ray. Didn't seem to cause too much of a problem, did it?
As far as we are aware, but that was probably 10 steps backward than what we needed. That was not something we needed at a first introduction.
The only person walking backwards was Deadbeat, and it opened up a door. Bright futures ahead. And I turn around and go grab my bag out of the car.
I'll shake my head a little bit and follow out to my truck to grab my stuff.
As everyone unpacks into the home that is to be their living space for who knows how long, it's obvious almost immediately that either this group is either going to get comfortable with each other very quickly, or they're going to stay uncomfortable for a very, very long time, because there is a very limited living space. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and a living room and a kitchen to be shared amongst 6 Garou. Looks like a few of you are bunking up. We'll see how that goes. It's later in the evening, and after several hours of unpacking, deciding who's going to sleep where, bickering over that, arguing over who gets what bed, then changing your mind and arguing again over who gets what bed, things are finally decided and probably will be redecided at a later time and then redecided again and again and again. You all pile into the van to make your way to the coordinates given to you by Matthias Morningkill. The drive takes you quite some distance away from the place you call home. you find yourself leaving the urban surroundings of downtown Tampa, a place you've just arrived in. And the further you get away from the city, those of you that consider yourself street rats or more comfortable in urban environments find yourself getting more and more uncomfortable as you enter more and more forested terrains, because you can't help but remember hell. You can't help but remember the woodlands that surrounded you. You can't help but remember the wolf that stalked through those woods, hunting you. You thought that coming to Tampa meant being surrounded by high rises and people. You thought that it meant getting out of nature. But you couldn't be more wrong. Because once you arrive at the designated point, you find yourself pulling off of the road into a small dirt turnoff at the edge of Hillsborough State Park. As you climb out of the vehicles, you find Matthias Morningkill and the luxury sedan parked at the side of the road. He's changed into some different attire. It's still a suit, of course, but this one seems a little bit more dressed down. And you can see that he's wearing thigh-high boots, clearly meant for a little bit more travel. I hope you're ready for a walk, he says, as he gives a smile and turns and starts heading into the woods.
I look down at my reinforced cargo pants and hiking boots, and then look over at everyone else who is not quite dressed to go on a long hiking trip, and just kind of snicker to myself before following in.
I will follow right after. I've done many treks in a lot more uncomfortable shoes during boot camp, so my work boots feel like clouds walking through this trail.
I just let out a little groan as I just kind of take a slower pace than everyone else, not slow enough to get left behind, but just occasionally rubber banding back towards the group, just keeping enough distance to be more with myself.
Rory will just kind of like look down at her boots, probably the same one she wore when she would work back home. Untuck the socks from them and like put them over her jeans and then make her way through, kind of just following the group while also like taking in the scenery.
Delphine will look down at her sweater, jeans, and just regular Converse and know she's probably not dressed appropriately for this, and more than likely like 5 minutes into the walk we'll have to take off the sweater and just like be in a tank top the rest of the walk there.
It is sweltering. The humidity is at 90 to almost 100%, and there is no breeze whatsoever to be felt. You are inland as inland can be. There is no coastline here. There are no beaches. There are no babes. All the things that you were promised about life in Florida don't exist in your cairn here. As you march through the woods on basic game trails and hunting paths, moving through the trees. As Stakes hits the tree line, she immediately shifts into her lupus form, dropping down onto all fours. And she moves with a comfort that she has clearly not felt in quite some time, ever since she left hell. She has stayed in her Hamid form the entire journey and hated every single moment of it, but hasn't complained at all. Though she's a lupus born, she does have some sense of discipline, but now she's actually allowed to be herself and be free, and she stretches that out to the utmost as she goes into the woods between the trees, moving freely, sniffing about, and clearly enjoying herself, but also quite alert and quite aware. You traverse these woods and fields for over an hour, moving deeper and deeper away from any sense or semblance of technology or civilization. The further in you get, the more and more it feels like you're just getting lost, having no idea where you are or where you're going to end up. And that's when you feel it. Something undescribable, something unknown, something unusual, something jarring to your very soul, to your spirit. A wall, not physical. You feel yourself pressed up against something that resists you at first. Something that holds you back, almost like a barrier, for just a moment before giving way and letting you through. It wants to keep you out for whatever reason, especially Deadbeat and Delphine. But eventually, it lets you in. You can feel a slight burning sensation on the braids of your mark of shame, as if it's very, very aware of what you've done. But as you pass through to the other side, the feeling is almost the exact opposite. You feel your souls, your spirits grow lighter, relieved, freed from burden. The heaviness that walked with you before, some of it that you didn't even know you were carrying, seems to be released, removed. You feel your steps grow lighter, your pace quicken. The walk didn't seem as heavy. And is there a breeze in the air? Because you hear rustling in the trees. And the humidity doesn't feel as humid. That heavy, damp feeling is gone. It's pleasant. Eventually, the path emerges upon a clearing. And this clearing has clearly been tended, developed. You can see obvious markings and signs of life and movement. You can see that areas are being developed and designated. There's a garden off to one side. There's a tree near the edge of the clearing where there's a burrow underneath. That's clearly designated. There's another tree with a sword mounted on the tree. And off to another, a large limb with a swing, a homemade swing hanging from it. In the center of the clearing, where Matthias is heading directly, stand two individuals, two women. I'll let those women describe themselves now, starting with Aspen.
Aspen is standing straight. Her hands are wringing a little bit nervously, but besides that, she looks very stoic. She looks like she just left a corporate meeting. She's got black cigarette pants, belted, a chiffon white button-up shirt tucked into the pants, the sleeves rolled up to the elbow, her hair really nicely done at her shoulders, blonde, these piercing blue eyes, and quite beautiful to look at. And she stands firm, waiting for you to show up.
And then Jester.
Jester is standing slightly behind Aspen to her right at the moment. She is mid-20s, 5'7". She has a light tan. Currently, her hair is about shoulder length, layered and slightly messy, or in kind of just messy tumbles on her shoulders. She is wearing a black V-neck, bohemian style dress that comes to about mid-thigh, bell sleeves. It's got orange flowers imprinted on it with some geometric lines on the bottom, and she is wearing a pair of motorcycle boots, and lots of jewelry on her wrists and neck.
Matthias approaches the pair, flashing a smile to both of them as he makes his way forward, and he offers out both hands towards Aspen. Miss Weiss, it's good to see you again.
Mr. Morningkill, it's been a while.
Far too long.
She does a gentle smile to him before looking to the group.
Allow me to present to you your reinforcements, all the way from Michigan. First, let me introduce Stakes Her Claim, a Bonar Ragabash, the elder from the Hell, Michigan Sept. The lupus born in her mangy lupus form steps forward, staying in lupus form, and just stares at both, but lowers her head a little bit respectfully.
Aspen will give a slight nod back and a smile.
I'll give her a warm smile.
And I will let the others have the privilege of introducing themselves.
I will step forward a little bit from the group and kind of stand at a bit of an attention. My name is Ray. I am of the Ghost Council tribe. I am Philodox. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Delphine will step forward. She looks haggard after the walk. She's just sweating profusely, and she actually does go a little closer to Ray and kind of like puts a hand on his arm, just kind of needing a little additional support with how worn out that walk made her. And a little out of breath, she's just, Delphine, Ruin Speaker, the urge of the Silent Striders.
Jester will step forward and hand her a flask. Here's some water. You look thirsty.
Delphine will take it and just 100% chug the entire thing down.
Oh, you might not want to do that. Oh, okay.
Delphine, give me a stamina and resolve check. And yes, you still have your penalty you have not used yet.
I'm stepping back behind Aspen.
Aspen pays no mind. As soon as they introduce themselves, she just goes to the next closest one.
One success.
Just as expected, the water does not stay down long. It immediately, almost as if you choke on it, comes right back up, sputtering out onto the ground in front of you.
Sorry. Sorry. I'm not used to hiking.
You'll get used to it eventually. Now, that one, and she'll point to Juniper. What was your name?
I give a little wave and introduce myself. My name's Juniper. I am a ragabash with the Black Furies.
Now, real quick, I want to roll a resolve plus composure because Debbie has a very violent thought right now, and he's trying. He wants to try and at least resist it a little bit.
Okay.
That he's gonna potentially do here.
Give me a composure and resolve.
That's a solid 0 successes.
Okay.
So I was behind, walking behind the group a little bit, kind of catching
Yep.
up. As I'm catching up, walking behind, I'm gonna start walking behind Juniper as I loudly will say, "Name Deadbeat. I'm the Arun. I'm gonna Sparta kick Juniper right in the back to repay for what she did to me before."
Okay, give me a. Well, let's start with a. Let's start with a dexterity and stealth, and a wits and awareness from Juniper to see if you get the surprise attack on this one. Yes, Ben?
When he says this very loudly, do I see him trying to Sparta kick Juniper?
I would say you could give an additional die to Juniper for the wits and awareness, but it would be too quick for you to react to anything other than to help her react.
Then I will do that.
What'd you get there?
4 successes.
And Juniper, how about you?
I also got 4 successes, but with
Okay.
a crit.
Tie goes to the defender. And I will say with the critical, you get a bonus die to either dexterity and athletics or strength and brawl to compete against his roll.
Strength and brawl.
Okay. So strength and brawl versus strength and brawl on his kick.
What was the brutal crit? What was the dice you have to roll for that one? The 2 1s,
2
1
1s,
2.
2 2s, or a 1 and a 2.
So I may have rolled a 1 and 2 on my rage dice. So
Okay.
that's 4 there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 successes with brutal.
Okay.
Feeling a little feisty, my bad.
I got 4 successes.
Okay. So, as he says, I'm deadbeat, Arun of the Bone Nars, he punts Juniper in the back, sending her flying forward and sprawling out in front of Aspen and Jester, doing, you said 9 successes and a brutal outcome?
Yep.
Okay, I would say at that point it would probably be a point of aggravated damage.
As like I see you sprawl down, I immediately just kind of, how does that feel, huh? Feels very good, doesn't it?
I see we have a little man in the group.
And Aspen will lean down to help Juniper up.
A growling emanates from the lupus born, who circles around in front of the pack and hunches down low, the hair on the back of her neck starting to spike up as she ferally snarls towards Deadbeat.
What? She did it first. I'm literally paying her back what she did to me earlier. It's not my fault she couldn't handle it now that we're on equal terms here.
Deadbeat. This is not the situation for that.
Oh, but it's okay earlier, huh?
Excuse me, if we could get back to the matter at hand, please. And lastly, what was your name? Looking to Rory.
Rory will look at Aspen and just go, "They call me Rory, and I'm also a bone gnar." Kind of gives Deadbeat a side eye, and I'm a Galliard of the tribe. And is there a body of water nearby? Or is it just kind of clearing with like just the grass and whatnot?
There is a river, but it is a little bit of a distance from the clearing. Like, it's not right up in the clearing. It is a walk from the clearing.
Okay. And does Delphine look like dehydrated / like heat exhaustion, or is it just tired from the hike?
Probably more tired and just hot.
Okay. So then I'm not going to do what I was about to do.
Juniper, your rage goes up from taking the aggravated damage. There is no roll to resist it.
All right.
So your rage is now at a 3.
Now, introductions. Thank you. I'm Aspen Oathbreaker. I'm Sept leader here. Tell me who is... Yes.
Aspen and Jester, from Deadbeat and Delphine's introductions, it becomes almost immediately apparent to both of you from the smell, and which draws your attention to the braids in both of their hairs. They both have the right of shame upon them.
Got it. Now, tell me who's the pack leader among you guys?
I am the pack leader.
Good. What brought you here other than Matthias? Was this a choice? What did your elders have to say about it?
For 3 of us, it was forced upon us a little bit, but for 2, it was punishment to be down here.
Interesting. Well, on that note, tell me about those 2. And she'll look over to Delphine and Deadbeat. In fact, how did you end up with your shame?
Yeah, I can speak for myself actually, but I don't need Soldier Boy here talking for me, pretend like he knows my situation.
Then speak.
That's what I'm doing right now, actually. So thing that happened is, misunderstanding went on. Me and Delphine here. She wanted me to go help her out with some stuff because she was on the outs and everyone thought she was crazy. So she wanted me to support her. So she came to me asking for help, and I told her that in order to help her, that she'd help me with something. And so we did that, and we got the right of shame.
Give me a manipulation and subterfuge, Deadbeat. That is an outright lie.
That you got it.
And Aspen and Jester, you can do wits and insight.
I got another brutal outcome.
That does not help you in this case.
No, I'm just really mad right now, dog. Do I get the rage compulsion thing? Or we're doing the reclawed?
Yes.
We'll say that the entire time that Deadbeat is spewing lies, Delphine is kind of just standing next to Ray, expressionless almost.
I got 4 successes.
I got 3.
He's lying.
I'll side it over to Jester.
Yeah, I'll nod to her and shake my head.
As for Deadbeat, You are going to suffer the compulsion of roll here. Oh, goody. Dominance. Rage urges the character to establish their dominance as an alpha wolf. This compulsion drives the Garou to belittle and subject others, to intimidate the weak, and to challenge the strong. The Garou turns their next interaction into a competition, using all means at their disposal to end up victorious and to rub the nose of the loser in their defeat. The Garou cannot take up a subordinate role in their pack and performs any action that avoids establishing dominance or challenging authority at a 2 dice penalty to their dice pools. This compulsion ends when the Garou has, quote, won and established their dominance, or when the scene ends.
Gross.
I'm an alpha dog. Woof woof.
As he says his lies, Aspen will speak up. It seems that it might be best you don't speak. Does anyone want to tell the truth of what happened?
Random question. You a Silver Fang, by the way?
I am.
Oh, I could tell. All right.
Good. I'm glad you know something. Would somebody please tell me the truth of what happened?
Delphine will look at Ray, seeking permission.
I will look down and give her a look of sheer punishment, sheer story to tell.
I saw a wolf around our sept, and the elders didn't believe me. So I got ostracized, is the prologue to this story. And I needed help finding some support within the sept. I wanted to try to manipulate a situation where they had no choice but to check the umbra for the wolf and see it for themselves. My plan didn't make it past the starting points, as I made the foolish mistake of recruiting Deadbeat to watch my back. Normally, when you're trying to take over a situation, you control the media and the army. I recruited the Galliard and the Arun. Deadbeat only would help if I returned the favor by helping him break up into my former mentor's property. We were only going to steal a couple of saddles, but that turned into Spartan kicking down several doors, destruction of property, and us getting caught with our hand in the proverbial cookie jar.
Which wouldn't have happened if you just, did your job of checking the spirit stuff to begin with.
I hadn't been feeling my best, so
And
my
why is that? Do you know why?
foresight was a little lacking.
Understood. Seems there's a lot of finger pointing in this group, which is interesting. You all are much younger than I expected, so that makes a bit of sense.
You said you saw the wolf and no one believed you. Do you have the gift of sight?
I don't know.
Why don't you know?
I wasn't educated. After I found my tribe, my mentor cast me aside for personal reasons.
Stakes gives a snort.
She'll look at Stakes, sigh a little bit. I have a drug problem. Is that what you want me to say, Stakes?
A little more than a problem, I'd say.
Rory will look at Ray to see if she can also give a little bit of input.
Ray will look back and just nod.
And to be fair, those that have potentially seen this wolf have also been under influences. So it made it more difficult to believe that it wasn't just a bad hallucination of some kind.
Interesting. Well, it seems that you say you're uneducated. What do you know? Do you know the litany? Are you aware of the litany, all of you?
I am aware of the litany, yes, Miss Weiss.
Aspen is fine.
I would
Can we
prefer
all-
to keep things professional, ma'am.
Or can we call you Oathbreaker instead? You said that was part of your name, right?
You may call me Oathbreaker. Yes.
Is there a reason why you got that name, by the way? Just curious.
There is a long history here, and I'd like to get to it if we can get past introductions without a whole debacle. So,
Would help if you stop running your mouth so damn much.
That's crazy because it seemed like neither of you could stop me if you wanted to. So, I mean,
Is that a challenge? Are you challenging your new Sept leader? Your
am
first
I?
10 minutes here.
Am I challenging? Sorry, I might not be so familiar with that stuff. You know, we're uneducated after all. I'm not very, well taught on that.
Deadbeat, watch yourself.
Oh, now you want to speak up all of a sudden? You finally found the courage there. You know, grabbed yourself by the balls and got yourself in there after sniveling here for a little bit.
I have been letting you tell your side of the story, which you're allowed to do. This unneeded aggression is not gonna help. So please, cool it down.
as
was
I
either-
said, we have important things to get through. So, if you'd like to challenge, we can get past that and move on to what actually matters. So, please, if you'd like to, let us know.
All right then. Yeah, I'd like to challenge you, Aspen.
Perfect. Then I say our challenge is education on the litany and the Garou Nation.
Of course you'd be a pussy. Oh my god. Can't just make it into a punching thing or brawling thing. I thought that's what we're supposed to do, as warriors and, this kind of shit.
One
Which is
challenge.
exactly. Go ahead, Delphine. Speak.
The one challenged picks what you are challenged to do.
Well, let's see if I can kick your fucking ass in this, I guess. All right. Fucking pussy. Let's do this shit. Well, how we win then? What do we do? What are the rules of this shit?
Recite the litany to me. All of it.
And if I do, I win?
We'll see how you do.
That's I think that's all the rules right there.
If you're so confident in it, recite them.
I'm just making sure that I don't want to break any rules without knowing. Is that the rules?
That is the rules. Recite them all exactly how they are meant to be. All of them.
All right, give me 1 second. Ray, I need you to tell me what the litany is. If you don't, I will beat your ass right now.
That's
It
not
would
how it
be.
works.
You said that you didn't say anything about not being able to ask.
Go
That's
ahead,
why I
Jester.
clarified.
I will look at Deadbeat And I will say no.
I'm gonna start stepping up. I'm gonna start.
I'll
getting
step
on
in front of
board.
him. I'll step in front of him. No, no, no.
You issued a challenge. The parameters are set. Complete the challenge. You already broke one of them. You should at least know some.
What roll would I make to try and know? See how much I know the litany.
All right, give me an intelligence and politics.
Oh fuck. Don't you know this is a 2 dice roll for me?
Wonderful.
Well, I got one. I got one.
You know that you disrespected your elders, and that is one of them.
I know one. As much as I love to throw this crazy chick in front of me out of the way, I kind of like I stand there, cross my arms, kind of like pissed off. In like for a moment, it seems like I uncross my arms. And it seems like I'm going to do something. For I just kind of, fuck off! God damn it! Fucking cheaters! I just kick the dirt. They fucking walk away, just pissed off.
I'll look to the group as a whole. Combat the worm wherever it dwells and whenever it thrives. Respect the territory of another. Accept an honorable surrender. Looks darts at Deadbeat. Submit to those of higher station. Respect those of lower station. For all are of Gaia. The first share the kill for the greatest in station. Eat not the flesh of humans. The veil shall not be lifted. The leader may be challenged at any times during peace. The leader may not be challenged during wartime. Take no action that causes the cairn to be violated. Garou shall always keep the oath of the Garou.
As she says the litany, you're taken back to earlier in that day. The leader shall not be challenged during wartime. And Matthias said, you're walking into a war zone. Deadbeat just broke the litany again.
Right now, I'm just like kind of kicking the dirt, like, fuck, like just pissed off. Like equally as pissed at like everyone else. I was also as pissed off, like just a little bit at himself too. Like, god damn it, I was supposed to win this shit. It's supposed to be easy, and now I've lost. Like, what the fuck? I'm just kind of sulking and now.
I'm just staring at Deadbeat with a mean smirk on my face and a very predatory look in my eyes.
I want to apologize for my packmate's actions. I know that what he just did goes against the litany, as you just recited, and I hope that in his ignorance you can forgive this as his stupidity.
That stupidity is going to get you all killed.
I'm doing my best to rein it in, or at least attempt to.
I'm not aware of what you had going on at your old sept with your old elders, but this is not a place to be stupid. This is not a place to be an idiot. This is a place where you listen and you do what you're told because it's what keeps you safe, not because of the litany, not because of leadership, but because you will die if you are uneducated.
I understand. and from this moment on, I'll be sure to drill it into his head. I will take this to heart.
And he threatened your leadership, not just mine. So, first advice to you, Ray, get a hold of your pack.
I'll give a slight look of defeat at that, but then compose myself a little quickly and stay silent.
We have threats here. There are leeches. There are cults. We have a trying time with spirits at the moment. There are leeches in power holding companies that are doing nefarious things throughout Tampa. There is so much bigger than the petty squabbles in your pack. And if you want to sit and be petty and squabble, enjoy the time while you have it, because it won't last long.
Why are you having problems with spirits? Does your theurge not help mediate that? I was told that you had one theurge.
We have two.
And she'll look at Matthias.
One of them has been a bit of a mentor for us, but we recently had a new theurge come in recently, and he has been helping as well. But he is working on the relationship with spirits here. There were circumstances that made the relationship between us and spirits sour. That is something that I had the responsibility of doing. So I will look at you all and say that I am not perfect. But if you keep going the way you are, you're going to lose someone or you're going to lose yourself.
She started it, though. She's the one that kicked me in the fucking house when we went in. I didn't even do anything.
Advice to you, deadbeat, you should shut up more.
Rory will try to not chuckle at that.
Just
Listening would do you some good.
My jaw is just very clenched as my fists are balled up. It's clear that Debbie's trying very hard to not go off on something else again, as just gritting his teeth, just saying nothing, staring daggers.
Aspen will turn to Jester. Jester, would you like to give them details of what they're walking into?
Sure. Where to start? I suppose I will start with the leeches. As she said, they control many businesses. When we first came in, pretty much all of the city. They own the police, the hospitals, the government. Most corporations here had ties to the leeches. They had a stronghold. Their particular strongest one, physically, named Bloody Mary, we have recently killed, thus removing the biggest threat, as she was the one responsible for destroying the Sept that existed here 10 years ago. Though now she is dead, several more of the ones that are deal with gangs and things on the streets are trying to rise up and proverbially take the throne, but we are eliminating them when we come across them. How much do any of you know about leeches?
Unfortunately, our education was not enough when it came to covering leeches. It was not a topic that was brought up very often, being up in Michigan.
All I know is what's in books and movies, and we were informed today that that's not necessarily entirely the case.
Okay. See, your education is sorely lacking in many points, but that's okay. We didn't know much about leeches when we first came here a year ago, so yeah, sure. Vampires, we prefer leeches. They are beings of consumption. They still drink blood. They tend to, some are strong, some have the ability to withstand fire, but usually fire will kill them, as it hurts us too, so be wary of that. So does taking their head off. Our bites are particularly known to harm them, but they taste disgusting, and I wouldn't recommend trying to eat them. You'd be consuming the worm, and that does some things to you you really don't want to happen. What else? Jabbing stakes in their chest supposedly is supposed to just make them paralyzed, but we have seen some turn to ash, so that is an interesting thing. However, we do know that some of the stronger ones, at least the ones that, and I don't mean physically strong, casting an eye of deadbeat, can manipulate your mind, change your memories, make you do things.
Does
Yes.
garlic work?
Not that I know of, but if you, no, not that I know of.
I'm guessing you don't know about what was that one in folklore? Silver or mirrors? Anything like that?
No, but the ones here do like to use silver on us, so just a fair warning.
And you also mentioned something about how they taste. What if one of them bites us?
I
Can you become a
imagine.
werewolf vampire?
I don't know. But I've never had one bite me, so don't know about that. I imagine it would probably hurt.
From what I understand, them simply biting you doesn't mean that you turn into a vampire.
Understood.
They've got to feed one way or another, and that's how they get their blood is, well, humans.
Aside from the leeches and, well, the small contingent of spirits, I'll look to Aspen, which we are working on. There is also an issue of these strange plants cropping up. Now, for Florida, this wouldn't be much different. There are so many invasive species of plants that in Florida that it's just ridiculous. But these, there's something different. We came across one, I think last week. It had eyes on its petals that followed us when we looked. It also seemed to be climbing up a tree and would most likely choke the life out of the tree. We're still looking into it, but it looks like somebody is intentionally planting these strange plants around different nature areas in the city.
At the mention of the plants, Stakes moves up to Juniper and nuzzles at her hand.
I nod down at her because I had the same exact thought. And I look at Jester and say, what color were the vines? Or the
Very,
roots?
they were green, very green. The flower itself was purple. Um, though when I removed it from the tree and put it in a bag, within an hour it withered into practically dust. I'll look straight at Deadbeat. You know, for people who don't know, that's not usual for plants.
Just staring daggers, still gritting my teeth, and I'm just not saying a word just yet.
Jester, you also recall that there were thorns along the vine that were causing it to stick to the tree.
There were thorns that embedded into the tree, causing it to stick to the tree.
I look down at Stakes again, looking for confirmation before I speak anymore.
Stakes nods her head and snorts.
When we were up in Michigan, we were able to secure a truck that was full of uh, dirt, like fertilizer bags, stuff like that. Um, Inside was these weird green, kind of glowing roots, plant that I've never seen before. And um, they're definitely not normal. And on the boxes, it had a symbol, and if I remember correctly, it said Pentex, right?
Yep.
Okay, I am remembering correctly then. Yeah, it said Pentex on every single one of those boxes.
My brow will furrow for a moment. I'll look to Aspen. Interesting.
Stakes at this point circles behind Juniper and starts snuffling at one of the back pockets of her cargo pants with her nose kind of like sticking into the back pocket.
I reach into my back pocket.
As you reach into your back pocket, you feel something that wasn't there when you put these pants on before. Somehow, something found its way into your pocket when you weren't paying attention. And as you fish it out, you feel a piece of vinyl, ripped off vinyl, that feels like it came off of a fertilizer bag. And it looks like a section of one of the fertilizer bags that you had fished out of the back of the truck. Somehow, Stakes must have snuck this into your pocket before she changed. Looking at it, it says, made in Piney Point, Florida.
I attempt to maintain a straight face as I read that and realize that maybe Stakes was a little bit right about coming down here, but I'm not ready to admit that out loud. Um, and I read it for a quick second and say, yeah, this right here says that this truck and these boxes more than likely came from here in Florida. And I hand over the piece of vinyl.
I'll take it, read it. Frown will deepen, and I'll nod to Aspen, looking over. I think we were right. Hand it to her.
Aspen looks at it, looks over to Juniper. Can I keep this?
Yeah, I already know about the what's in that. So yeah, you can.
She'll like put it in her pants pocket. Well, it seems like whatever you were dealing with up there, we have a similar problem here, and apparently it originates here. So, I guess there's more connection between us and you than we had previously known.
Yeah, I guess so. And I'll just kind of look back down at Stakes for a moment.
Stakes
Squint
looks
my
up at
eyes.
you and opens her mouth, and her tongue just lolls out to the side.
I just sigh.
Thanks for telling us. Jester has a very troubled look on her face. She has stopped even like giving deadbeat mean glances and is pondering other things and like will move to stand by Aspen again.
Good. Well, you've heard a lot of the problems here. People are going missing. That may not be a problem for us as much, but you would do well to have your eyes open and keep yourself aware moving within this area. There are several problematic things. So, sticking together, working out your issues is going to be your best bet. Also, you'll be working closely with Charles. Charles is our worm foe and our warder. So, he does a lot of the coordination between packs within the cairn and consolidating and organizing defenses. So, you'll be working with him a lot. Hopefully. And I say hopefully, but I know definitely he'll give you the education you need, whether you like it or not. Look over at Deadbeat.
If I remember correctly, another Silver Fang, right? It's crazy, consider how most of these high leadership positions taken by Silver Fangs. It's weird.
Yeah, almost if they were here fighting the fight long before you while you were up north.
Yeah, fighting our own shit against our own stuff, against the thing that came from here that you guys couldn't actually deal with because you're too busy focusing on the other stuff.
Stakes gives out a bark, short and clipped.
You can sit here and argue us against you, you against them. It really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Hurting my feelings won't do much in all of the problems we have here. So if that makes you feel better, continue to have your snide remarks. But either way, you'll learn one way or another that it's best to do the work and listen to the people that have been here.
Are we going to meet this Charles?
You'll be meeting him soon. He'll make his presence known, I'm sure.
He will not go easy on you. Trust me, I know from experience. But what he teaches you will be worth it, and it may save your lives. Because we're not the ones you should be angry about or worry about. This city will kill you if you fuck up too much, and it will kill the ones you love. And I'm not just talking about the people in this pack. They like to use the people you care about against you, especially the leeches.
And to that note, you will find Jason. He is our Theurge, Bonar, looks to Rory and to Deadbeat. We have Lucas. He's our Ragabash. He is Shadow Lord. We have Eliza. She's a Theurge as well. And Charles is our Rune.
You said the tribes of the others. Why not her?
She is a Stargazer.
What's a stargazer?
Is that supposed to mean something?
Right. A Stargazer is a tribe not of the nation. They are not considered part of the nation, and the contempt between the two is, well, shaky at best. But she has done a lot for this cairn, for this place. She's done a lot to educate us, and it would behoove you to show her respect the same as you would with the rest of us.
Which one of these theurges would I seek out for education?
Eliza knows the most, but she is busy, as we've just gotten this cairn up and running, if you will. So if you can get with her, she's going to be the most educated. And Jason is new here. He's getting his bearings just as much as the rest of you. If he's available, there's the potential for that. But Eliza tends to stay within the cairn mostly.
At this point, Matthias, who has been quiet and observing primarily, steps up. Well, this has been interesting. Miss Weiss, Miss Jester, thank you so much for allowing us to come and introduce this new pack to you. I'm sure we will have time to discuss all the developments that have happened. A lot of new information has come to light for all of us, and I'm sure there will be much to discuss, but I should return this pack to their domicile and allow them to get settled and get their bearings as well. And I will make sure that Charles gets acquainted with them as soon as possible.
Thank you, Matthias. And thank you, Stakes, for getting them here safely.
At that point, Stakes steps in front of the entire pack again and dips her head and tilts it to the side. She then turns to the rest of the pack and gives a bark and kind of nudges her head as if kind of gesturing for them to return the way they came.
Delphine looks hesitant mainly because she does not want to go down that hiking trail again, but dragging her feet, she starts walking towards from where they came.
Is Matthias coming with us, or is Matthias staying?
He seems to be lingering behind, but intent to follow.
Just before I leave, I'm gonna. I'm just gonna say this won't impact the budget, right?
It's a difficult first day, but we'll see.
And then I'll just turn around and start walking away.
As Matthias hangs back to discuss with Aspen and Jester, the rest of you start making your way back down the trail, Stakes taking up the rear to shepherd the rest of you back towards your vehicles. A lot of thoughts go through all of your minds as you make the journey back. Let's hear some of them, starting with Ray. What's going through your head after this introduction and all that's transpired at this first impression with the Sept leadership?
What's going through my mind is that this, from the first moment, was a disaster, to say the least. All we needed to do was show up, receive orders, introduce ourselves, make an impression. And unfortunately, the impression we made was probably the worst we probably could have done. Mainly, it was Deadbeat's fault at this point. Juniper didn't help, but I can be a little understanding for that situation. We came in with 2 shamed Garou, and that was already a huge hurdle. So I wanted to try and show at least some sort of cohesion, but I guess that was just a pipe dream. And at this point, I need to take what Aspen said of reining the pack in and trying my best to keep the cohesion together. And so I need to talk to Deadbeat, or this is not going to go well at all.
Delphine.
Delphine has mostly questions in her mind, which is, why were we really brought here? Why did Matthias have to tell half-truths about the Theurge? Why did they not say anything regarding who was coming down? Why did Red and Sean seemingly tell half-truths to Matthias? But those questions that she is thinking of are basically in the background, because in the forefront of her mind is, I need to get my next fix.
Deadbeat.
Got a couple conflicting emotions going on right now. There's the small, there's the feeling of satisfaction having kicked Juniper in the back like that. The feeling of retribution, getting the clap back finally was pretty satisfying, but everything else past that was not as great feeling. Losing the challenge kind of didn't necessarily feel like I was dumb, more that it was unfair. Like they cheated me, knowing that, of course, they were going to choose something like that and not actually do something that was fair and right. There is the anger at the, like, how they seem to kind of view themselves as better, or at least Deadbeat perceives that they view themselves better than me and the rest of us, and kind of wondering, even pissed at Ray for getting up all on his shit for acting the way he is. Because to me, why I got the right of shame at this point. Everyone knows what I'm all about. Why should I pretend to be any different? That's just, they know what they're getting into. This time, it's not going to be as surprising as before we got casted out from the other Sept. So just kind of pissed all around at a lot of people, and still a little bit regretful, mainly for the fact that their budget might get affected, and just kind of walking back, sulking, and kind of kicking rocks whenever you can.
Juniper.
I am not spiraling quite as much as I was earlier today, but a lot of stuff has happened. I'm mostly content with how easily Deadbeat was manipulated into showing everybody how much of an ass he truly is without me even having to say anything out loud during this. I knew that what I did earlier today would set him off into a mood, and so I was just waiting for the fireworks to go off, basically. And it was very nice to see him get kind of put in his place, and now he's looking like he's suffering internally and miserable, and that's what I want. Um, as far as everything else, I feel like I kind of got played by Stakes a little bit. I wish that she had told me in the beginning when we got that truck that it came from here. Um, because feeling like I was just being punished for that dipshit over there's stupid actions. This is not good. And I hate that she was right and that we did probably need to come down here to stop what's happening up in Michigan, but this is not the way that I wanted things to go. Um, yeah, this is a whole bunch of fucking shit, and I'm just not happy really about any of it.
Rory.
She's kind of like relieved that she wasn't the one that embarrassed the pack tonight, and is kind of also like smirking internally that it was deadbeat. However, she's still in that same line of thinking, annoyed with how much of a embarrassment deadbeat was. That felt like he was definitely a little bit more than he normally was, and it's just kind of bothering her. She's also kind of thinking on what all of these others have said, that there's way more to the story than they're letting on. And she's not happy about that, and is now starting to calculate how she's going to start pulling the strings to try and get them to weave more of the picture for her and get her more of the story.
The Hellhounds have arrived in Florida, for better or worse. And as they say, they're into the thick of it. Are they prepared? Are they ready? Are they up to the task? Is this a story of redemption, or is this a downward spiral? Those questions will be answered one way or another. But one thing is for sure. These hellhounds, what a bunch of assholes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much to our guests, Champ and Nori, for reprising the roles of Aspen and Jester for tonight's episode. Stay tuned. Hellhounds is going to broadcast live on YouTube every Friday night, so you can tune in right here to watch the episodes, or you can catch up VOD on YouTube or on podcast when they debut. So stay tuned. This show is kicking off with a roaring start, and this adventure, this story, is going to be absolutely wild. I assure you of that. Thank you so much for watching. Follow St. Pete on all of the social media in the description. And, you know, if you like what you see here, come join our community. We have lots of activities for you to participate in. We'd love for you to come be a part of our merry gang. But for these amazing players, I'm Kent. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.